Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. We will officially start in one or two more minutes. We'll let some people join. And I would like to invite you, if you can hear me and see me, to write your name. First name is sufficient on the chat. We are going to use the chat later on. The chat will be the place that you can write your comments and ask your questions. I see the chat all the time. I will try to respond either on time or at the end. So again, I want to welcome you. My name is Sam Shefer from Salvona Technologies. And this is another session of our Salvona U. Salvona University is a brand of Salvona that focus on providing educational value to our customers. And this is Wednesday morning. I'm talking to you from Salt Lake City in Utah. The weather is a little bit chilly here, but I think we will be okay. So as people continue to register, I appreciate if you just join us, please just add your name to the chat box. So I would like to start officially our broadcast. It's 12:04 on my time. I guess East Coast is 2:04 afternoon. And again, I'm talking from Mountain Standard Time in Utah, USA. I know that we have some people overseas, some people that just put the AI to record it, and some people just listen and don't see. So we have many people all around. We try to accommodate everybody. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here, Sam Shefer from Salvona Technologies, and we are talking today about some delivery systems that are unique and important for you. Why they are important for you? Because this is not simple raw material that some people could use them. Everybody could use them, of course, but these are proprietary systems that have special added value. So when you use those with the raw material, definitely you get a better product, more performing product, and I will show you how exactly. Moreover, you have a proprietary position. So brand that's going with some specialty product can claim for specialty performance and of course give them a better marketing position. So I wish you enjoy the session coming up. And again, you can ask any question, any comment. I will be happy to address as we move forward. So I hope you can see my slides, and I would like to move on to my next slides. And technologies that we are going to cover today in this broadcast are two. The first one is called Salsphere Even Skin, and the second one is Salsphere Anti-Aging Lift. The two can be used in a separate form and also can be used together, and I will show you how. So let's talk about the major issue when it comes to beautifying the face and the skin in general is to do with exfoliation. Why and what is exfoliation? Exfoliation is a process by which we remove the top layers of the skin. You see in this image what happens before and after. Before is on your right side, and after exfoliation is typically on the left side. We smooth the skin, we take care of blemishes, acne, we reduce the visibility of pores, we clear the skin from darker spots, and we also clear the skin from oil spots. In overall, what we have with exfoliation, we are exposing a younger looking skin, which is very important in all ages. We reduce the appearance of large pores because the exfoliation removes the fatty sebum that fills up the hair follicles, the pores. and therefore we reduce the size of the pores and the skin look much smoother. We reduce the fine lines as well as we diminishes the appearance of shiny spots and oily skin. Overall, when we do that, of course, first of all, the skin looks brighter, the skin looks smoother, and in case you would like to use a makeup, it will be easier to apply and the makeup will stay on the skin for longer. So there are many benefits in using exfoliation, and we would like to explore them and how to exfoliate in the best way. You understand exfoliation is suitable for all ages, all genders, men and women that want to look good, it doesn't matter. And exfoliation is some of the daily routine, a daily facial wash with the technology I'm showing you will change the way your skin looks like. You're actually going to have a new skin within a week. A new skin within a week. Okay, so the active that we are using is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is a beta hydroxy acid. Okay, many people are using salicylic acid. The first recorded beautiful lady was Cleopatra in Egypt. She used to use salicylic acid. She had a botanical extract from willow bark. The bark of the willow has salicylic acid. So some people used to extract it, and this is how she used to have a beautiful, smooth, younger looking skin. What is the problem with salicylic acid? Why do we need to encapsulate? This is the core essence. Salicylic acid is water insoluble. In order to solubilize salicylic acid, you have to use either harsh surfactant or alcohol. Both of them are not good for the skin. So we still want to use salicylic acid, but we don't want to cause any damage and hurt the skin. Therefore, we come up with a solution of encapsulated salicylic acid. Once you encapsulate it in tiny spheres, they can be suspended in water. They don't dissolve, they suspend. Okay, so what are these tiny spheres that I'm calling Salsphere even skin? The tiny spheres are the following. They are based on a core and a shell. The size is between zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.3 micron. The core is typically hydrophobic, oil base or wax base or ceramide base. And inside the core, we incorporate the salicylic acid in this case. You will see in another technology, we use other functional ingredients. And all this system is coated with a shell, and the shell is typically hydrophilic. So hydrophilic outside and hydrophobic inside. The active is inside. Now let's look at this. How does it look like? It looks like a clear solution. Golden color, very easy to pour and to use. Long shelf life, very stable liquid. You can take this golden shaped and dilute it because the original concentration is 30%. And once you can dilute it to any dose you want. For pharmaceutical, you can use 6.5%, OTC up to 2%, cosmetics up to 0.5%. Easy to solubilize them in any kind of water emulsion. This is the major benefit of Salsphere even skin. The question is, people ask us, if it is encapsulated, does it still work? In other words, can the salicylic acid diffuse and do the job? So here you see the data we generate, exfoliation, and we measure exfoliation in different methods. Typically, we measure it on skin by reduction of certain color. So reduction of the color indicates exfoliation of the top layers of the skin. because the colors stick to the top layer. And what you see, if you use the same amount of salicylic acid, free, and in alcohol, of course, and then encapsulated salicylic acid, you see a major difference, and the difference is statistically different. You see the lines of the standard error. So we are talking about almost 75% exfoliation compared to about 60% exfoliation, which is a significant difference. But this is the first aspect done in a laboratory. Of course, you would like to know, does it work on the skin and how does it work on the skin? So here are a few images to demonstrate. This is a man with a forehand. You see exactly how his forehead is not smooth. It has blemishes and some fine lines. After a week, you see the effect. The skin becomes smoother, brighter, and reduction of the fine lines. This is one example of many. In this case, use 2% salicylic acid in the wash. Use it daily for 7 days. Here is another example of a woman forehead. Again, you see the blemishes, and after 7 days, you see the effect, how the smooth the skin is, reduction of the blemishes significantly, and also the skin become lighter. And these are the major benefits of encapsulated salicylic acid. Not only it's easy to use, but it is very effective. People see the effect exactly on the skin. Another aspect of this exfoliation is the reduction of pores. We measured pore size and volume in a clinical setup with special camera. You see, this is the number illustration of the pores before, and 4 weeks after, you see the illustration after with a significant decrease. Now, of course, when you are in a brand, you want to put a number, and here are some numbers. Here is the number of reduction versus the control. The control is the free. So you see the total pore volume on the left is almost 30% reduction compared to the free. Total pore area, the same, and count is a little bit less. Overall, we are talking about 30% reduction in pore size and volume compared to free salicylic acid, and this is within 4 weeks in a clinical study. So we know now that salicylic acid encapsulated in Salsphere is contributing to reduction of pores, which means the skin becomes smoother. Now let's look at other aspect. Toning. Skin toning is another aspect of younger looking skin. And you see that 64% of the subject saw an improvement in skin toning. It doesn't mean skin whitening, but toning. 64% is a significant improvement in the appearance of the skin. Overall, I want to tell you, Salsphere Even Skin is easy to use. You can make multiple products such as lotions, tone, serums with Salsphere Even Skin. So this very much brief you about the value of Salsphere Even Skin in terms of the chemist. For the chemist, it's very easy to use now. No need to use harsh surfactant. Alcohol, of course not. It's compatible with multiple kind of thickeners and surfactants. Can be used as a clear formula, and the results are obvious. It's skin friendly and safe to the skin. So once we exfoliate and smooth the skin, we can now look into other aspects of anti-aging benefits. And the product I would like to present to you called Salsphere Anti-Aging Lift. This is a new, relatively new product relative to Salsphere Even Skin. Even Skin have been in the market for over 10 years, and it's gaining continuous success. Salsphere Anti-Aging Lift is a relatively new product that we launched this year, 2025. The product has dual function. It works to reduce the wrinkles, rejuvenate the skin, firm it, lift it. At the same time, it gives the consumer the feel that it works. Perception, the feel that it works. Very important when we talk about cosmetic products. So what is this technology made of? I'm explaining you all the details so you understand and are able to explain it to others and to customers. It has a core and a shell, the same as Salsphere Even Skin. In this case, the shell is made of polyvinyl alcohol combined with hyaluronic acid. And the specialty here is we have a special technology of combining polymers with different molecular weights in order to provide the flexibility, the strength, and the efficacy. So this is the basic structure, okay? It gives the tightening. The tightening, the immediate effect is received from the shell. At a certain time, the shell of this sphere separates from the core, and the shell is contributing to the sensorial benefits, which consumer can feel almost immediately. And try it so you see how it works. The core is again a lipid structure, always lipid. The lipid are able to stick to the skin and even penetrate through the intercellular space. So if you want your active to get deeper into the deeper layers of the skin, you need this technology because otherwise the active will stay on the top and then the effect will be minimized. The purpose of the core, again, is in this case, it's made out of hydrogenated olive oil, a natural material, of course, that helps not just to carry the actives, which I will tell you what are the actives in a minute, but it also helps to restore the skin barrier. Holding more water in the top layers of the skin is a key to provide benefits of the skin. So what are the actives? The actives that are incorporated inside the core are two unique peptides. One of them is the palmitoyl tripeptide number 5, and the other one is acetyl hexapeptide number 8. These two peptides help with providing the firmness, the sensorial benefit, and the youth collagen synthesis and so on. So why we encapsulate the peptide? Because the peptide by itself are typically water soluble. And if such, their ability to penetrate by themselves is very limited. Once they are incorporated in the tiny core lipid, the lipid enable them to reach to the deeper layers of the skin. So this is the structure, remember this, and now we will see how does it work, okay? So let's take it part by part. Let's talk about the shell. What is the contribution of the shell? The shell, as I mentioned, is made out of a blend of, first of all, polyvinyl alcohol. So you may know polyvinyl alcohol, but this is a special combination of high and low molecular weight, a special combination that provides the special benefits, the flexibility on the skin, so it's not brittle on the skin that you can feel and peel off. It gives the strength to hold onto the skin and the tightening of the skin. And this gives the firming effect, the lifting effect that you can feel almost immediately after you apply it on your skin. The second part of this shell is hyaluronic acid. You probably are familiar with hyaluronic acid, and this is a molecule that's able to hold moisture, water. When we combine these two together, we have now a layer that not only have the ability to firm, lift, and tighten, but also is giving an hydration layer. So this is what we have resulting from the shell. And as I mentioned, when you rub it, the shell will separate from the core. Now let's look at the core. So imagine that you are the tiny sphere and you look up. You are on the skin. You're looking up. What do you see? You see the film of the shell. And you are the tiny spheres, the green spheres that you can see. These are the spheres that are easy to deposit onto the skin and even penetrate deeper into the skin. They are carrying the two peptides that I mentioned. These peptides are now available or bioavailable at the deeper layer where exactly they are needed at the dermis. Only if they get there, they can do what they're supposed to do. Get the firmness, the flexibility, the synthesis of collagen, elastin, and everything to do with the younger looking skin. So this is the mechanism by which this technology works. Pretty smart combination. And now the question is, does it really work? How do I know it works? Okay, but at least you understand now that this is a little bit sophisticated system combining multiple ingredients to get a unique performance. So the first test that we did with measuring the viscoelasticity of the skin, and viscoelasticity is the ability of the skin to come back to the original point after putting some pressure. So imagine that I click the skin, and if it's coming back, I have good viscoelasticity. But if it doesn't come back, low. So if you have a wrinkle, it means viscoelasticity is very low. You don't come back to the original position. So viscoelasticity is what we are measuring with a special system. And what we see here, the neat viscoelasticity in percent. The control, which means without the technology, it's about 25 with the standard deviation that you can see. And with the technology, it jumps 75. So the technology by itself can increase the viscoelasticity by almost 3 times, 2.6 times. So this is kind of in vitro on skin testing. Then we are looking at flexibility. And here we see another measurements that resemble here the percentage improvement due to use of Salsphere anti-aging lift improvement over the base. So elasticity increase over 150%, and you see the standard deviation, and firmness increased by about 25% with a very tiny standard deviation. To conclude, we see an increase of about 160% in viscoelasticity due to the technology, and an increase in 24% increase in firmness. So this is pretty remarkable numbers. And taking into account, this was after a single application. 30 minutes after the application, we measure on panelists in the lab. And this is the net data. So you can see and you can get very impressed of how this technology can change the elasticity and the firmness of the skin. This can be related to the contribution of the shell because the peptide is going through a biological process which may take longer. Okay, so that's why we are impressed of the immediate effect. And this is important for consumer to feel that the product is doing what it's supposed to do. So they will continue to use the product for a longer time. Now, how does it work on the skin? This is the most critical benefit that we are looking for. So here is an example. This is a lady before application. You can definitely see the wrinkles. And about 30 minutes after that, you see how the wrinkles completely disappear. The skin becomes smooth. This means increase in the viscoelasticity of the skin. The second candidates, you can see here the second panelist before. Again, you can see the images before and you can see after. Wonderful major changes that camera can pick up, and people can also evaluate it. And I show you what the panelists themselves said after the test when we ask them how do they feel about the product. Here is another of instant you see before, miraculously after. So this technology works pretty fast and give you the cosmetic results that people are very interested to receive. Now about around the eye, you can see before, 30 minutes after. Significant reduction of the depth and longevity of the length of the wrinkles. It works also on men. You see before and you see after. Men typically have thicker epidermis, therefore it's more difficult to induce a change. But with this technology, you can see in 30 minutes, there is a significant appearance. Let's move on and see what the panelists themselves thought about the product. 85% of the participants felt that the skin firmness and elasticity increased. 35%, I mean, the question ranked the answer by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 was the highest effect. So more than 85% were between 4 and 5 improvement. So the top, I would say 30%, so 70% top. Totally was 85% of the panelists found it highly improving the firmness and the elasticity. Then again, 85% found that the smooth become much smoother after using this product. 85% found it to be effective overall, all parameter of wrinkle reduction. And all of them found that product is no irritating. There is nothing there actually to cause irritation, but it's very skin friendly. So once you see all this, then the question is what kind of claims you can make in your product. So here are a couple of examples. It's lift, smoothing, firm instantly, okay? And you can back up with 161% improvement in skin elasticity. Not many products can show that after the first application. Another idea is to claim instant firming and so on. Gentle lift your skin deserve, and of course, firm skin and fast results. These are typical claims that can be associated with using this Salsphere anti-aging lift. So if we want to summarize this part, I'm afraid it's a little bit overwhelming, a lot of clinical data, so you see that it works. In simple words, we can say this is a dual action performance. It's provide immediately lifting as well as providing a long-lasting wrinkle reduction. The wrinkle reduction is coming from the peptides, and the peptides activity already established by multiple technical, clinical reports, multiple. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's established that these peptides are doing a very good job, especially if they reach the dermis. And our delivery system found to be in previous studies as well to show that it enhances the bioavailability at the deeper layers of the skin. Clinically proven results, you saw this on multiple panelists that we used. It is very ready to use. I mean, very easy to formulate it into any kind of a serum, any kind of a leave-on or cream or lotion. It's very compatible with most of the thickeners and surfactant if you are using those or in other kind of formats. And they definitely can provide a premium position for marketing to give consumer believable results of using this type of technologies, or this technology specifically. What is the takeaway from my presentation? I'm sorry that I'm accelerating. I limited the time. I don't want to take too much of your time, wanted to make it very focused. But I will definitely look into your comments and try to answer the questions as they come up. What is the takeaway after this half an hour? Salsphere Even Skin, clear product, clear, transparent, easy to use, major benefits. It's a major support for formulators that struggling using salicylic acid. I also want to say it's very skin friendly. It doesn't burn the skin, even people with sensitive skin, because the salicylic acid is encapsulated, protected. So it slowly releases on the skin. You don't get all the acid at once. So you don't have this dryness, itchy effect as a result of exposure to the acid. So acid are good for the skin, but they are very good if they can slowly release. So you have the full dose, but you get it in small steps. It's like you get a big meal, but you eat it slowly over a long time. So you get satisfied, but you don't get negative effects. Okay, the major benefit is it's smoothing the skin. The texture, it rejuvenate the skin to expose younger looking skin. It affect the tone, so people that are looking for brightening, lightening, and all these words that describe a lighter skin, radiant skin. This is the technology to be used in everyday application, like facial wash, serum, and so on. And it's good for any age, teenagers and mature skin. So this is the basic technology that we recommend today. Basic application to improve the appearance of the skin. It's cost effective and easy, friendly. The second technology I showed you, after you exfoliate, of course, then you worry about deeper wrinkles, pores, and so on. Some of the salicylic acid in Salsphere Even Skin is also removing the pores, okay? But anti-aging lift is all about the sensorial benefit. You want consumer to feel the product works. This is essential, and it's missing in most of the high-end even cosmetic product. Okay, so the promise is typically you have to use it for a month and then you will see the effect. Here we're saying no, you have to use it for 30 minutes and then you see the effect. And this is the major message with anti-aging lift. So it's give the sensory benefits, and it's a special delivery of the peptide, the two peptides I mentioned that are work deeper into the skin to make the effect on the surface of the skin. But the shell of this type of technology is contributing to the immediate sensorial effect, and the core is for the long-term effect. So this is a good combination to this kind of product. So this is the takeaway. I'm sure you have some question or you would like to know more information. I just want to let you know that Salvona U, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, is our link to education, practical education. We are training our formulator, our marketing people, and we're happy to get into your company to provide the service more deeply. Most of the time we do it online, and this and other meetings such as this are recorded and will be available for listening to them again. So this is basically finalizing my presentation. And I wanted just to let you know, you can get a lot of information on our website. Please check www.salvona.com. More details of the clinical, the methods, and the results are all detailed there, including regulatory documents and further information. So now I transfer the podium to you, and now you're able to ask me any question you have in mind, and I will be very happy to address.
Sam, there's a few questions that were in the chat. If we can scroll back.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I scrolled back. So what is the first question? I get questions from there and I get questions from the phone. So I will try to accommodate all in any kind of order that makes sense. So what is the first question? 0.5% of salicylic acid. Okay, so this is Christian. So the Salsphere is loaded with 30% salicylic acid. So you can calculate how much you need to use in order to get 0.5%. It's about 2.5% roughly. And that's enough for clinical, for cosmetic claims. And I think it's a good amount. I would say the limitation is acne, if you want to claim acne. So first of all, if you want to claim acne, we have a separate technology that's more geared toward acne solution that's called Salsphere, anti-acne relief or severe acne relief. It has also 30% salicylic acid, but it also contains other ingredients that work together in a synergistic way to fix the problem, to repair acne. So for acne, we have a kind of a different technology. For skin smoothing, 0.5% to 1% salicylic acid is sufficient. Of course, you can use more, but we don't think you need to use more. So just remember that version 21 of Salsphere Even Skin is containing 30% salicylic acid, and you can decide how much you would like to use into the formula. I want also to mention to you that this is a very cost-effective product. It's definitely compatible to mass market solutions. And if you need any information about price, please connect with our office, specifically with Cheyenne. She's on this call as well, and she will be happy to support. Next question, what is the advantage of Salsphere lifting in comparison nano-emulsion contain? Oh, first of all, I don't know. We don't use nano. We use submicron. This is number one. So nano caused a lot of issues in the world. So a cosmetic business is not really trying to avoid or eliminate actually nanos. So we are in a submicron, which means particles are 100 nanometers and larger. This is our particles. That's why I said it's 0.1 to 0.3. 0.1 micron means 100 nanometers. So what is the advantage? Salicylic acid you cannot dissolve no matter what size without organic solvent. So if you want to make a facial wash, you definitely need to use an encapsulated Salsphere form of salicylic acid. That gives you an immediate benefit. It's so much easier to formulate with. And then because the particles are so small, translucent also, but so small, which means they can easily stick to the skin. They stick to the skin, this is critical. In order to get slow release, they need to stick first and then slow release. If you don't use this technology, you just use nano-emulsion or whatever it is, yes, you may be able to solubilize the salicylic acid, but the moment you wash it off, it will be washed off. Okay, you mix it with surfactant and you wash off, it will be washed off. Here, it sticks. It's like dirt. The oil function like dirt, and you put oil on your hands, so the oil will stay. Sometimes even when you wash it, it doesn't go away. Like you fix the car and you have all the black stuff on your hands, very difficult to wash off. Okay, so the same thing happens here. It's almost very difficult. I don't want almost impossible, but it's possible eventually. But it sticks to the skin almost like the dirt. Okay, uh, and once it sticks, then it can slowly release. So this is the issue. Slow portion over time. Don't overload the skin with any kind of material, no matter how good it is. So this is the advantage of Salsphere. Slow release is definitely benefit. Now, lifting. So when you talk about lifting, so there are multiple products that provide some lifting. Um, Depends which one. I don't want to relate to those. I want just to say that this is providing a very good feel of firming and lifting. But this is the feel, the immediate feel. And of course, the peptide are doing the job, the long lasting job. So the combination is the key. I hope this answered. If not, ask me again. And the second question here, stabilization of fine, it's important. So when you say whether the particle size are consistent, the answer is yes, the particle size distribution is consistent. The particle size in this product allowed to, and this specific product allowed to suspend them homogeneously. There shouldn't be any precipitation of the particles or any floating because the particles are fat and the density is below water. Um, how we keep the suspensions in the product, we keep the suspension. But when you formulate with this in your formula, then there are different ways to suspend the product. You can use some emulsifiers, surfactant. We didn't experience major problem to suspend the spheres and keeping it clear. So please look at the product overview on the website. We supply some tips for formulation, and that could be very useful. If not, please give us a call. On the website, you can actually schedule meetings, and we can be available to address any kind of concerns you have. Use the website. It's a tool, not just a catalog. It's a tool for communication. Okay, Emmanuel, nice to have you here. Um, so yes, there are different versions of Salsphere Even Skin. The older version is version number 4, and this is mostly common in Eastern Asia. However, since the regulations changes in US and in Europe, we formulated slightly different. We replaced some of the ingredients and they are also available. So you can get maybe the website does not include all the versions, but you definitely are invited to communicate and tell us which version you prefer and visible supply. The current version is version 21. It's easier to use, 30% salicylic acid, and it's fit the global regulations for cosmetic applications. And this is it. Um, yes, the longevity. In other words, you're asking how long you can feel it. So you can feel it for a good hour or two. Depends how much you use. I mean, we're talking about anti-aging lift. So you can feel it for some people reported even 6 hours. So it also depends on how thick is your skin. Typically, men will feel it less for shorter time. Women may feel it for longer time. It also depends where you put it. If you put it the crossfit around the eyes, you put it on the forehead. So it depends on where you put it. As you saw, we tested in 2 locations, the forearms and around the eye. What would be the difference between the technology? Okay, this is a very good question, Christian. Liposome is based on lecithin phospholipids. This is a bubble, and we don't use this. Two reasons. First of all, it's shown to be not to be stable. When you mix liposome, you typically break it. There is nothing to hold it. And liposome can hold a small amount of active, especially hydrophilic, okay? Very small amount. Nobody actually figured out how to measure how much it can load because you cannot separate liposome from the water around the liposomes because the moment you separate the liposome are gone. So liposome are very fragile, not stable, very old technology. It was fantastic 40, 50 years ago when we just started to talk about this. Today, it's a gun technology. I know some people have nothing better, so they will continue to market it. We came up with Salsphere because I figured out in my previous academic work that liposome have very limited stability and efficacy. Definitely not for cosmetic application, for topical, when you mix it with other ingredients. So if it's an infusion, like a medical aspect, then liposome in maybe a certain condition may be stable. And this is a way to infuse stuff to the body. But when you talk about cosmetic, when you're mixing other ingredients as well, thickeners and so on, the liposomes simply break down easily. Then the liposomes don't have a strong mechanism for penetration. Compared to Salsphere, Salsphere has a solid core. The meaning of the solid is the ingredients cannot easily leak out. If they leak out, there is no benefit for the technology anymore. It's like free. So the ability to lock the ingredients into the solid core is a major benefit. Then the solid core is compatible with the fat domains on the skin. What is the skin? The skin is protein and fats, lipids. So when this tiny particle finds a lipid domain, they can easily penetrate, like between intercellular space, or they can penetrate mostly through the follicles. The hair follicles is the major pathway to enter to the deeper layers of the skin. And we've proven this using fluorescent agents on skin, how the particles are able to penetrate deeper through the hair follicles. That's called follicular delivery. So this is one of many, I told you, benefit. And of course, I can talk about this longer. So please contact me if you need more explanation. I will be happy to provide more information. And does it affect the viscosity? Typically not, or very little. Salsphere, even skin, when you put it in a typical wash or lotion or serum, it will not change much the viscosity. Don't forget, we are talking about 2%, 2.5%, 3%. It would not, typically would not change, but I invite you and challenge you, Shiva and other people, to try to use it and see by yourself, but we didn't see much. What is the thermal stability? I missed it. What is the thermal stability? Sunscreen skin is very stable. It's stable at accelerated condition, 45, accelerated aging conditions, 45C, and it's a very stable formula. You will not see separation, and don't expect to see any other different. The only thing that you may be able to see is a little bit discoloration. The color can become a little bit darker of the concentrate, not of the diluted. So the 30% may be golden to golden brown. But that doesn't mean anything about the quality. The level of the salicylic acid is the same. Salicylic acid is known to be very stable. So we are using upfront a stable material, and we make it even more compatible and stable. So there are other questions. I give you another few minutes. Please feel free to. I give you a few samples to ask any more questions. And I hope you learned something from this event. But I think we reached we almost reached. We have a few more minutes to reach the end of this broadcast. I hope you will be able to get the website and order samples, and the samples can come to you very easily. And you try the samples, and I'm sure you will see how easy to use, number one, and then how effective they are. And we know by now, for several years, in case of even skin, and several months of anti-aging lift, that this is a very unique technology. It can give you a major position, and not just because of the technology, but because of the marketing story. Okay, everyone, I want to thank you. And I want you to, when you get a survey, a few minutes when we close this event, please respond, give your comments. It's very important for us to improve our capabilities to help you more with these advanced technologies. You can get these technologies only from Salvona or from our authorized distributors. In the US, it's basically direct. You can use the website to provide you with full service, including scheduling meetings to discuss any kind of concerns. So please use the website and enjoy. Have a great day. Thank you, Lee, and everybody else. Looking forward to see you at the next webinar coming up in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye and have a good day. Thank you.